What's going on? This is Ryan with Automatic Comics, and in this video, we're going to be talking about that dilemma that we as comic book collectors or investors, whatever you want to call it, are always grappling with. Should I buy this or that? And there was a post recently on Facebook in one of the Facebook groups that I'm in where someone has that exact same question. So they say, dilemma, should I buy ASM 300 or New Mutants 98? Please help. And you can see in the comments down here, there are a ton of comments. There are 148 comments on this one. So a lot of people have different feelings on the subject. And there are definitely different ways that you could approach this, whether it's through value or how popular you think that character is going to be in the future, which character you like more. Now, if you're not familiar with either of these books, like maybe you're a little newer to comic collecting, Amazing Spider-Man 300 is this one right here. Classic Todd McFarlane cover, the most homaged cover of all time. No question. I don't even have to look anything up, and I know that that's true. This one gets used tons and tons for different covers across the board. And the other big thing is that this is considered the first full appearance of Venom. Now, he does appear in Amazing Spider-Man 299 on the last page. You see all of him, and you see his name. And so it's somewhat similar to the argument between Hulk 180 and 181, that if you think Hulk 180 is the first appearance of Wolverine, you probably think Amazing Spider-Man 299 is the first appearance of Venom. If you don't, then you got kind of mixed signals going on there. But regardless, this is the book. So just like Hulk 181 is the book for Venom, this is the book. And you can see here, this book is graded a lot. 37,611 copies on census, 30,227 universals, 6,576 signatures. There's just a ton of them out there. Then we've got New Mutants 98. Here we've got the first appearance of Deadpool. And he's actually on the cover for this one. So that is something that's, it's nice there with that. But first appearance of Deadpool. You've also got first appearance of Copycat, first appearance of Gideon. So a few other little things there as well. And you can see this book is graded a ton too. This book is from 1991. Amazing Spider-Man 300 is from 1988. They both have lots of copies on census. New Mutants 98 here, you can see total copies, 30,289. So less than Amazing Spider-Man 300, but not by all that much. 25,664 universals. I mean, both of these books sell all the time. If you want a copy of either book, you can go on eBay at any time and you can find plenty of copies of either of these books, either raw or graded, across tons of different grades, tons of different price points. They are definitely out there and available. So with these two, how would I decide which one to pick? Now, if you watch this channel, typically valuation is going to be one of the big decision makers for me. And so we'll talk about that some, and then we'll, because we don't know which character this person likes more. If they like Venom more, they should probably get Amazing Spider-Man 300. If they like Deadpool more, they should probably get New Mutants 98. But let's look at the pricing for Amazing Spider-Man 300. So if we look at a graded copy, this is GPA, one of the tools that I regularly use for pricing. There was a sale that just happened well below where this book has been selling, down at $1,805. I actually had to try and go find that sale because that was just so far off from everything else we've seen. I mean, 2,700, 2,900, 3,100, 29, 28, 23, 26, 26. I mean, it's so low. And so I did find it. It was actually an international sale. Looks like a seller in the UK probably. And they had it at £2,000, $2,500, and they accepted $1,850. I would consider this sale an outlier. You are not going to have any luck giving that offer based on that sale to anybody that has this book listed out there. They're just going to laugh at you. I'll say that right now. Now, 6 months from now, maybe that is the price of the book. I mean, if you look at the sales history for this, it is still going down. This is one of the big things that I look at with these comics and why I talk about this a lot. So you can see Amazing Spider-Man 300. I mean, it just very gradually grew in price from, like, we'll just say 2010 up until around 2016. Back in 2010, $600 book, 2016, $900, $1,200 book. So it doubled in about 6 or 7 years. Then we had a big jump here. This was likely when that Venom movie came out, the first one, or the announcement came out for it. And so now we have like a new baseline basically for this book. Now it's hovering around 1900 to 2000, somewhere in that range. And I will often see that with comic books where they don't necessarily move up in, it's like 10% a year. I mean, you can average it out because effectively how you want to look at comics is generally very long terms. So you can kind of average that out over time. But they tend to have events that cause them to go up and then they kind of flatline for a while. It's not always the case, but a lot of times that's what I see. Then we had the comic boom. I mean, this just throws everything off. This is that whole period where prices went nuts. You can see here prices up to, I think, 8,500 there, and here 9,200, the peak sale for a direct edition. This is the direct edition we're looking at here. And it's just been heading down ever since. Even though movies have been coming out, all of that doesn't matter. It was way too high. There's too many copies out there. So they just sell too regularly and the price keeps correcting. So do I think it's going to get all the way back to 2000? I mean, I know there's that one sale at 1805. So maybe it gets all the way back there. But I also wouldn't be surprised if, it's been since 2020. It's been almost 5 years now. So I could see this book maybe leveling out around 2,200, 2,400, somewhere around there, still up a little bit. I can't predict the future. Maybe it goes below those prices from 2020. But Spider-Man is the most popular character out there. Venom is his primary villain / anti-hero. And so he is an extremely popular character, extremely in-demand book. People like to have multiple copies of this book. So I do think this book will continue to fall. And so to me, there's a risk there buying this book. Now, we don't just have to look at 9.8s. Let's jump down to, say, a 9.4. 9.4 currently going around $580 to $600. You can see still trending down, maybe leveling a little bit. But again, back in that period before the comic boom, it was like a $400 to $450 book. It's like a $600 book right now. I could see this one maybe going down to 500, 525, somewhere in that range. I wouldn't be surprised if it's already had some sales there. If we take a look. So yeah, 361, someone got a deal there. But yeah, you can see here, 526, 480, 540, but a lot more of the sales kind of up around 550 to 575. So maybe not as much of a risk of total value drop if you move down to, say, like a 9.4 or a 9.2. Now, let's go look at New Mutants 98. So New Mutants 98. Again, that's, this one right here. Again, very popular book. Definitely has not been the book out there until really, I'd say we had the first Deadpool movie. That is what really set this book off, which is probably right about here. Looking back into like 2012, 2013, 9.8 was a $400 book. Going prior to 2010, a $200 book. Then this is probably that Deadpool movie. You see this big jump right there. It's now an $800 book. You see how that was flat again. Like you had an event that caused it to go up and then it stays flat for multiple years. We've had the Wolverine and Deadpool movie. There's rumors of another one of these movies coming out. So you could almost consider that like another event. So I wouldn't be surprised if it's higher than this price that it was at during that period prior to the comic boom. So I don't think it's necessarily going to drop all the way back down to $700 in a 9.8. Right now it's around $1,100. You can see there have been some lower sales. $991, $860, $874, but it's generally around $1,000 right now. Another book that I could see this one dipping below 1,000 consistently, like maybe down to the 900 range. And that wouldn't really surprise me. So I do think that there's still some downside to this one, but you can see here, if you're patient, you watch for the right auction, you can grab it around those prices. And that protects you some. If your concern is drop in value, because I've had people talk to me about that, concern about comic books dropping, that kind of thing. If that's your concern, you've just got to be patient. These two were in early October. And let's see, there's a link to them. Let's see where they happened. This one was on Comic Connect. a 9.8 white pages, great looking book. So if you were watching that auction, you could have won that one. And there was another one right afterwards, also on Comic Connect, 9.8 white pages. So you had two opportunities right there to grab that book for pretty cheap. And then right afterwards, up over 1,000. So that's the type of thing that, if you're really concerned about the financial side of it, you've just got to be patient and wait. And you've got to let the book go if it doesn't hit the prices that you think it could. So in terms of safety of an investment, right now, just pure financials for this question here, should I buy an ASM 300 or a New Mutants 98? I would probably say a New Mutants 98 with the caveat that you just are very patient and wait for a sale that maybe drops below $900. Feel like if you can grab one there, your downside risk is relatively low. It could always drop a little further, but to me, it's about minimizing that downside risk. If you're looking at popularity of a character, I would go with Amazing Spider-Man 300. Spider-Man is a much more popular character. Venom is associated with him as one of the most, well-known villains for him. So, and clearly very popular character because of the number of books that are graded. There is a lot of demand for it. I just feel the downside risk on Amazing Spider-Man 300 is still higher, and the likelihood of grabbing a copy at a price that's, I'm air quoting, safe right now is lower. I think it's just not hitting those numbers consistently yet. Whereas with New Mutants 98, there have been a few opportunities down there. Now, not a lot. I mean, again, you got to be patient, but this book sells all the time. I mean, look at this. Just in the copies that got pulled into GPA in October alone, we had maybe 16. And there are always more copies selling, Comic-Cons, sites that don't pull into GPA, Instagram, whatever. And so that's why I would, pure safety side in terms of the financials, I'd be going for New Mutants 98. Otherwise, I'd probably just wait. If you're looking for an Amazing Spider-Man 300, I'd just wait. I think I really do think that there's just too much still that could occur with the downtrend with it, that I would not be in a rush to pick up that book. So changing my my mind here a little bit mid video, but I would say I'd either go New Mutants 98 or nothing. I like Amazing Spider-Man 300 more. I like that book more, but I think the value proposition just isn't quite there for it yet. So if you want an ASM 300, I'd be waiting. Like I said, I'd just get something like GPA. If you're spending hundreds or thousands of dollars on a comic, get GPA, get Go Collect, whatever, so that you can see that price history and you can get an idea what this book, is maybe worth compared to prior to the comic boom. And don't always expect things to go back to exactly those prices. Not all books will. I'm sure some will, but I don't think all books will. And, try to buy around there or maybe within 10 or 20% of that number. And I feel like your downside risk is relatively safe. But hopefully you enjoyed this video. Maybe this person sees this video, gives them an idea what to buy. But I'd say if they've got money burning a hole in their pocket, New Mutants 98, if they don't really need to buy anything right now, I would just wait and see what happens. But let me know in the comments, which one would you buy? Why would you pick that one up? And I will see you on the next one.